up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screen and LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump, I won't forget. Buy high, die hodling. The gen brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale, get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shady clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I'll play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die hodling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. FOMO's gone, greed's the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. In the glass, risk it all, no brakes, full gas. Liquidation, call me sweet. Whisper, welcome to defeat. No stop loss, no regrets. Code and chaos, no safety nets. Satoshi's ghost in my DMs told me to ape again and again. Buy high, die hodling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. If I crash, at least I tried. In this wild west of blockchain rights. I'll be trading till the lights go out. Charts are noise, but I live for the sound. One candle spike, and I'm back in town. Crypto's a fight, and I'm 10 toes down.
Good morning, guys. How's it going? Check. Just gonna check my audio really quick. Properties. All right, cool. We're good. Hey, Coma. How's it going? First to comment again. Pluff, how you doing, man? Noah, Bull Runner, Offshore Miner, Matrix. What's up? Been on a crazy run. But yeah, so we're kind of... Luckily, I caught this, but with a spot entry on 3 assets, not a futures entry, unfortunately. I was busy with the kids. So, yeah, so we were in this consultative range. I was kind of hopeful for a test down to 107.9K area where we could test this previous macro value area high. So I zoom out on the 4-hour time frame. You can see what I mean. So here's the 4-hour. This is the consultative range that we're just talking about. And I was hoping that we would come down to like test this momentum here in confluence with grabbing liquidity from these lows, and as well as testing this previous value high, but we front run it a little bit. And when you pull a fib from the low to the high, like it's close to the 886, so it's not really a level that I would typically watch in a higher time frame, especially. But we had the early warning sign on the 5-minute time frame that we were going to come out of here anyways. If I zoom out, like this is kind of what I usually look for in like the 15-minute, but it's a relatively young range, and the fact that we were just consolidating it against the value area high here consistently, if we got a break of structure after breaking past this value area high and testing these previous highs, then we should listen to it because it's a huge indication that we're going to be leaving that value area and moving to a new one. So I made the post. Let's check here. We go to like the spot trading section here. Yeah, I made the post that I bought Cardano, Bitcoin, and Chainlink during that moment because, yeah, I didn't want to miss out even if it's just a spot entry and not like a futures entry. But yeah, we kind of been on a tear ever since. We haven't slowed down really. We consolidated a little bit inside against this value area here, right? Using this value area initially as resistance, failed to get acceptance, failed to get proper acceptance here too with the SFP, because you want to have that break of structure. The same way we were confirming exiting the value area, you use the same kind of rules to tell you when we get acceptance into one. And we got the acceptance here with this pullback and then the higher high, right? But yeah, normally during that moment, you target the value area high and you prepare for a reversal. But instead, we hit our head against the 50-day EMA right here, pull back, got the higher high again. Wasn't a proper pullback on the 5-minute, but yeah, we got the higher high again and we started running out of this value area. And now we're coming into a key area of interest where we should be preparing for a rejection. If we zoom out, I'll talk about it here. We have like this area of interest where we broke out of this value area, right? And the opposite occurred where we kind of like pulled back. This is the hourly time frame, by the way. So we came down, we pulled back, then we kind of like confirmed this value area as resistance, as well as these like testing these previous lows as resistance as well. And when you have like an impulse move down, build a little base, another impulse move down, you should mark those areas as potential supply concerns when we come back up to revisit them in case there's residual sell orders in them, right? But yeah, so we're preparing for an opposing change of character in this area. I'm looking for either like a 15-minute, hopeful for like something like a 15-minute time frame change of character where we could rotate down from here to this like 15-minute order block in confluence with the value area high and the 50-day EMA. So there's lots of decent confluence here for support if we get a rejection here. And I'm anticipating that if we do get the rejection here, that we'll go range bound between here and here for a little bit until eventually we get acceptance into this value area if we get that continuation. And if we do, hopefully we catch along down at these lows in this theoretical range that we're talking about here so that we can prepare for the potential front run of that acceptance and get a target extension to that value area high. And like if you jumped in on like a futures trade for my spot signal, then you can use these value areas to help you with target extensions all the time. So like here, you could prepare for an exit plan if we broke this low, or you can prepare for staying in the trade if you get acceptance to the value area and start targeting the value area high for your target extension. And we could get that target extension again by getting acceptance into that value area around 114.8K. And this value area is about, I think, 16 days. Oh, it's 6 days old. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm preparing for the rejection here. I'd rather jump in on a long around here if we get that rejection, depending on what kind of risk-reward ratio we have to the primary barrier, which is that 50-day EMA. I might take the short-term scalp short, but I'd feel a lot more comfortable jumping in on the long. But yeah, going to the 5-minute. We got a little bit of regression trend in the 5-minute. We're starting to lose that internal momentum right here. So we'll see if we get that pullback higher high, and then we'll take out the internal strong low to come down to target here where the liquidity basically ends for this active regression trend right here. Okay, what do we got in the chat? Robert, what's up, man? Nonstop TY, Sal, Asmir. Can you look at AVAX? Actually, I was planning on looking at AVAX anyways because it looks like it's preparing for something big. And CRO, we can do that. RC, what's up? Ondo, R-Pink. Hit the likes. Yeah, thanks, man. Good spot to get 2 red candles now. Yeah, exactly. We want to have that healthy pullback, especially in like the 15-minute. Get the 2 red candles. get the unclaimed high, create the strong low, and see if we get that rejection. Because I'd like to jump in on a long round here today. And then maybe this 15-minute order block that we just created will induce the bounce to get that higher high. Let me get 2 picture perfect order blocks here, back to back. There we go, we just mitigated that one. Let's see if we get that bounce shortly after the candle closes. We get 3 minutes until it closes, then we'll have another red candle. Good morning, Mikey, what's up? Mike, you were the one that just emailed me? Someone named Mike, Mr. Mike, with a really weird email address. Okay. All right, let's get to it. So that's Bitcoin. That's my plan. That's what I'm looking for. Now we can go over any assets that you guys want to look at. AVAX is definitely a part of my list. So let's look at AVAX first. This time, so last Friday, my computer was being crazy from the last like 15, 20 minutes of the live. I'll make sure to shut down my tabs as we go through them. Not you? Okay, cool. All right, open. I think we have an AVAX chart. If it's AVAX, I'm thinking of either it's AVAX or Aave. Someone in the community, Runaway, did a post that made me want to look at it. It's been a while since we looked at AVAX. Yeah, the last time we were looking at it was around here, it looks like. Preparing for a reversal off the valley area low. And watching out for supply concerns. We ended up leaving that valley area. We can delete this now. This was our local resistance that we're concerned about. We can delete that now too. Okay, so we lost our momentum, came down, got an ascending double bottom. Looks like we bounced off the golden pocket. Yep, perfectly off the golden pocket. Now we're getting a break of structure warning off of the neckline as support, which is a good indication of a continuation. We don't have very many barriers up until the previous value low at 32.18. I see this as liquidity line here. If I mark our high, we just want to make sure that we get a full body candle above this area here. Otherwise, we'll get that SFP on this candle. This is the hourly time frame. Let me just get the magnet tool out and make sure I have this connected properly. So we got 45 minutes left on this candle. If we have this close below this dotted line here, then we have an SFP. And what ends up happening is we'll target the local lows, which is around here. So if we SFP here, I'd be watching out for this previous value area high and active VWAP confluence that could induce a bounce. So measure your risk against that barrier in hopes that we break through it for target extension to these lows. But the traditional target is just the low, but you always got to watch out for the barriers along the way. So that's AVAX on the hourly. Let's look at the 15 for a second. Okay, 15 already confirmed an SFP. There we go. See, on this candle here, same story. Yeah, based on the structure, it's the same story. If you'd rather wait for the hourly close, it'll be a lot safer, but you could give up some of your gains. Target here to here. But if you get that candle body close above, it would be here now on the 15 minute. But here on the hourly, then you'll likely have a continuation. The measurable target for this ascending double bottom, based on the momentum, grab our support, our neckline. So our momentum based target is this previous value area low where we have the confluence of a supply concern right here. So that's what I'll be looking out for. If AVAX gets the full body close above the wick, we'll likely see continuation to here. And this is where I'll be waiting for a rejection. Like Bitcoin's the boss, so really it's up to Bitcoin. So if you have Bitcoin structural confluence, then we'll likely see this come up here. If you get the SFP instead on the hourly, then we'll come down here. That's AVAX. I hope that helps you out. But it looks pretty bullish. The target will be 32.18. There we go. And if you're taking the trade, yeah, the best stop loss guard's below here, but relative to the target, your risk to reward ratio won't be great. Okay, so that's AVAX. I'm gonna save this layout. You can access this chart inside the Discord. Let me close this chart. Just making sure I don't freeze up my computer like last time again. The 500 tabs. How is Karma doing? It's doing pretty good. Karma's at 11 cents now, 11.39. We got a lot of free liquidity from BNB skyrocketing recently. And now we just broke a new higher high. Still on our way up. It's just been non-stop pumping. We have the airdrop coming up again in next week. Some of this pump is a result of the airdrop accumulation of the fund. So we every time there's an airdrop, there's a buy in order to grant those airdrops. So nothing's taken from investors. Nothing's taken from the market cap. It's all added to the market cap. So there's no way that the airdrop can cause any harm like a traditional airdrop would. Okay. Next request was CRO from Asmir. So let's take a peek at CRO, see how that's doing. I don't think we have a CRO chart, but we can always... Yep. Okay, let's pull it up this way. We'll check it out on OKX. Okay. So we just got to break a structure here on the 15-minute. Let's zoom out on the bigger picture stuff. Okay, so we got below the 50-day EMA. Still, we basically undid a lot of our gains on that pump. I feel like CRO is due for another move. This is our downtrending momentum here. We could delete this. We could delete this. These are all areas of support that we anticipate that could help induce a range. Yeah, we got a little bit of bounce, but nothing crazy. Let's zoom out though. So if we zoom out, it tells a story of like this large ascending broadening wedge, right? And CRO has been, I think this is the biggest broadening wedge I've ever seen. It's 1,000 days old, consistently acting as resistance with this ascending level of resistance here, support here. Basically what these like broadening wedges tell a story of is acceleration of volume and interest, right? So it starts at low confidence and then confidence builds the crazy amounts of volume that just end up getting crazier and crazier. But when it's ascending like this, historically they break to the downside. But if we claim a certain key level, and that key level is this orange line right here, it could allow us to get that break to the upside. So we need to get above here. This acted as consistently as a resistance and support in the past. Historically, we are below the 50-day EMA, but above the 200. We have this downtrending momentum. So when this momentum breaks, you'd assume that we'd start going after the upper side liquidity that has stacked throughout this journey on the downside here. When we're coming back, we kind of like retesting these previous highs here. And we're building this ascending double bottom, kind of like an upside down Adam and Eve actually. you guys ever seen an Adam and Eve before, they look like this, where you have a spike up, a spike down, and then a rounded top like that. This is kind of similar, spike down, and kind of building this rounded bottom until we got a little bit of a spike of interest here when we broke this downtrending internal momentum. But yeah, so far, yeah, we need to get above this high, defeat this supply concern here. And we tapped into it. This is what basically induced this double bottom, this supply concern, which is insanely common, extremely common. Let me just undo, send this back. So if we get the break, we grab the buy side liquidity. I would mark these wicks here just in case we SFP off them. That could be a really good short opportunity, especially if you have any bearish confluence with Bitcoin. That could help drive CRO down a little bit. I would also mark this level here that we're approaching right now. It's at 19,864, and we have 0.20059. These are both areas where you can get an SFP, and then you'll just watch your local lows that are created. Let's say you get a pullback here, and then we take the sweep, this area, we'd be targeting that low. If we instead get the full body candle close above this area, we'd be breaking the neckline of this large double bottom. And I would be preparing for potential consolidation into the supply concern if we get that body close, in hopes for a continuation up from here. The ascending double bottom's technical target is, let's find out. Let's grab, if the momentum were to be maintained, it brings us to 22,361. But you'd be marking these highs, you'd be watching the 50-day EMA, all as areas of potential concern that could drive the price back down. So if I were to draw a path, what I anticipate, potential SFP, or we get the body close and we consolidate for a break to the upside. And that's CRO. I hope that helps you out. It's looking bullish so far. Let's save the layout. Let's go back to Bitcoin. And we'll take the next request here. All right, we got the proper pullback on Bitcoin on the 15-minute. Now we just kind of need the higher high. We could come down and hit the equilibrium point of that order block. It's a common area for a bounce in order blocks. And then we'll get the high, hopefully we get the higher high, so we get that structure for a potential short. Okay. What is your thoughts on Astra versus Hype? I don't know anything about Astra yet. I can look into that. Actually, I might know a lot about Astra. It's the one I'm thinking about. Astra. Let's go on CoinMarketCap. Is it the asset that's creating that hidden limit order system? On the Binance Smart Chain? Oh, yeah, I'll have to look into it later. Sorry. Okay. Karma, Diamond Hands. Yeah, you're getting paid to hold too, right? So. All right. So we looked at AVAX. We looked at CRO. We looked at Bitcoin. Next request was Chainlink from Robert. I don't have a mod today, guys, so just bear with me when I'm trying to catch up to your request here. Let's look at Chainlink now. So Chainlink was one of the ones I bought when Bitcoin confirmed this big move. Chainlink has a lot of Bitcoin pairing liquidity. So where Bitcoin goes, Chainlink usually follows. But what's nice about Chainlink is it usually has relative strength when Bitcoin has weakness. All right, we're done that. If we zoom out on Chainlink, we broke this downtrending momentum after testing one of our areas of interest here. Coming from basically this demand zone on top of the previous value area high, very similar to what we're kind of preparing for with Bitcoin, but it kind of got front run at the 107K level. This is kind of like a almost identical area of interest. We have the uptrending momentum forming now right here. We're trying to get acceptance into a previous value area. If you zoom out, see, we just take a look and see where this value area low came from. Okay, I see. All right, we're trying to get acceptance back into this guy that had a lot of influence over our active price action over here. This helped guide us into knowing to prepare for shorts when we got up to this side. We got that acceptance in there. Now we're trying to get, this is what the acceptance looked like last time. We'll see if we get that break inside the value area, pull back, and then break a structure for the other form of confluence, like the other form of acceptance. And on top of that, it does look like on the higher time frames that we're building like this potential inverse head and shoulders. Right? Left shoulder, head, potential hit or head off this supply concern here, and then come down, and then get that break of structure acceptance in the value area. And then maybe we'll get that full rotation up to the value area high again, which is basically close to the measurable target of this regression trend after we broke out of it, right? This is the regression trend here. When we break out of the regression trend, we normally grab all the liquidity along the way up, and we end usually our pump from the top side of that structure. We'll see if Chainlink follows through with that. We got an order block on the 4 hour here that we should watch out for. Looks like it's getting front run a little bit. If we zoom back in, yeah, we just hit our head off an hourly order block. And we got a bullish hourly order block below us too. So I'm expecting Chainlink to consolidate here as Bitcoin kind of makes up his mind on what it wants to do. If Bitcoin gets this, bearish change of character and we come down, then Chainlink's likely just going to be induced into a range from that. But overall, I think this thing's going to maintain an uptrend. Well, we have our barriers along the way, of course. We have the 4 hour order block right in our face that we're fighting. We have the supply concern right here on top of an hourly order block and previous value high. But I am expecting some kind of pathing to suggest that we're going to prepare for a continuation. Nothing as clear as everything else that we looked at though. I'll save this. Daniel, hey Kyle, hope you're doing well. Do you think a correction of Bitcoin to below 108K is totally invalidated? I don't think it's invalidated because of the daily structure. It's still technically bearish. If we zoom out, this is our daily. We came up through here, got the higher high. Then we got the bearish change of character, and it's super common for us to use the liquidity below the low here that where change of characters are created as like buy side liquidity, and usually induces a pullback, but we never usually break above our strong high, right? And we got that pullback. I don't think it's completely out of the cards yet, but the more time that passes, the less and less possible it's going to become. We have the uptrending momentum here on the daily that will likely hold us up. We have the 200-day EMA that's catching up. So as time progresses, it's going to become more and more invalidated. Like we could hit our head off here and then start a downtrend to grab that liquidity again. So I don't want to say like it's out of the cards just yet, especially if we look at this downtrending resistance here, this white line here, and we find out that there might be sell orders in the order books. So we can look at the order books right now and validate that trend line or not. If we see a massive sell wall there, then we should prepare for that downtrending level of resistance that we just drew to be honored. So we'll go to order books on CoinGlass. We have a big sell wall, not too big, but 200 to 300 Bitcoin at 114.79. 114.79. So basically right where this previous value area low is. We have a lot of sell orders roughly around here. So we do have traders respecting this trend line right now. What was the volume again? It was a calculator here. So 114,790 was the price times about 200 Bitcoin. So about $22.9 million ready to be sold. Right here. Yeah, we cannot go past that price until those orders are filled. But it's not a crazy amount of Bitcoin. If it was like 1,000 or more, then I'd be a little more concerned, but we can break through that in one tap. But we'll see if there's market orders that will come in confluence with that could drive the price down too. But we do see people trying to suppress the price. Okay, so we looked at Chainlink, AVAX, CRO. What's next? We have TMC asking for Morpho. What is Morpho? I feel like I've seen this. Okay, I've done TA on it. Okay, I've done quite a bit of TA on it before. All right, so we have this uptrending momentum here that we drew in the past. Looks like the last time we were looking at it, we were preparing for this double bottom to hit this target here. We broke the high, retraced, never broke the strong low, but almost hit the target from there. Melted right through the supply concern, but couldn't really get past it. But now, we lost that momentum. We had the 50-day and the 200 curling down for a potential cross. Tapped into this local demand zone. All started from here. We're fighting supply as we speak. We have this uptrending momentum on the 4-hour here. We just had an SFP, and the SFP already hit the target within the active candle. Well, it's all within the active candle, though. Lower time frame, SFP. This makes more sense. We get the 15-minute sweep of this high. Hit the targeted low. SFP'd again. A bullish one. Came up. You'd be targeting like basically this local high. Maybe even this will be the extreme target here. But with the confluence of the body closes and the VWAP, you'd be targeting roughly around here when you get this SFP. Now we're kind of like slipping off the VWAP again. We had a low time frame pennant that broke to the downside. We're coming down to tap into a 15-minute order block and a 30-minute that was mitigated a little bit. So we still have like this internal low time frame demand here. We could come down, find support off here still. Yeah, I still think that this is going to be an active range, and we'll likely see us continue to the upside. So this is an area where you prepare for longs. We have a wick down here where you can prepare for another SFP. This thing seems to love to do SFPs. So if I were to draw pathing for you on the 15-minute, I'm preparing for a sweep around here, or like a 5-minute bullish change of character to start targeting these local highs again. All while in the macro, we're trying to fight this supply concern for a continuation up. So we need like a full body candle close above here. So if you jump in on this, and let's say we don't confirm any resistance up in this area, we don't have an opposing change of character, we don't have an SFP, we instead get like a full body candle close above here, that will tell you to stay in the trade and extend your target further up to these highs in hopes for a continuation up further to the 200-day at least. But that's Morpho. So there's an opportunity coming for sure around here. So save this, go back to Bitcoin. Okay. Next request. So we went through Morpho. Kelefant wants to look at Advantis and Ethereum. Planning to adjust something with the challenge. Feels like we're a little... Yes, I am. This week, you guys going to see a lot of cool changes inside the server. We're going to have a new weekly coaching call too. So we'll have another weekly coaching call. We're going to have Mario, the creator of 11x, is going to be giving you guys free access to, like we worked out a deal, yeah, to give you guys free access to the risk to reward ratio indicator from 11x. You guys will see. There'll be a lot of cool stuff this week. Oh, thanks, Coma. I appreciate that. That helps me look around for stuff. So we did link Morpho. Okay, Advantis. Look at Advantis. See how it's doing. Okay. Look at it on Blowfin. Okay, it's not very much price action data. Let's go on Binance. That's better. Still nothing crazy, but let's go to get this downtrend momentum drawn. And we broke the downtrending support momentum here as resistance. We're about to confirm it right now. We got an order block down here. Our previous highs, we've already broken into our previous highs. We should mark this valley area from here to here. mark our previous value area high. Our previous point control. And our previous value area low. We've got two very strong volume. Yeah, two very strong areas of interest here. This is a volume shelf on the upper side that we still have to break through. So I'm going to mark that really quick. Okay. All right, so we got lots of support data now to help us identify where AVNT or Advantis could reverse. We have lots of liquidity above us based on the structure. Failed to create this, take this high, failed to take that high. Yeah, we just keep stacking more and more liquidity above us. This was one strong demand zone here that we'd watch, but we mitigated that full area. This is kind of like the last little area of interest before potentially going into price discovery, assuming that this is the actual first liquidity, or if this might just be the listing price on Binance. Let's zoom into the 15-minute. We do have a key level right here on the 15. That could give us a bullish change of character. But it seems like most of the interest starts around here, right? So if we don't get the bullish change of character here, I'm anticipating that it will occur somewhere around here, which is $1.09, yeah, $1.09.85. We get the previous value area high here, $1.12. So if you're looking for a reversal, this is in the high area of confluence where you prepare for that reversal. And then when we come back up, you'll have a few areas of concern along the way. So we have this little supply concern. Send it back. We had a 15-minute order block there, but it's been mitigated. So it's going to be a little bit weaker. I'll clone this. Move this here. And then we'll mark this value area. All right. So bullish change character, hopefully around this area. You don't want proper acceptance into this valley area because if you get the break of structure, let's say we break down here, break structure, lower low. Because we could get that full rotation to the valley area low. And if we do get that, then this is where I'll be preparing for longs next at 95.42. If we instead get the bullish change of character, then I'll be jumping in on longs and something like this, watching these supply concerns along the way, seeing how we respond to them. If we get the bearish change of character against us, think about taking some profits off the table. If we consolidate to the apex, we could be stuck here for a few days. But hopefully that's not the case. So that's AVNT. I hope that helps you out. Save. Yeah, take a screenshot if you need it, because it's kind of a weird one. Expect fast moves between each one of these areas, but yeah, other than that. Okay. So save. Back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's got the green candle now. We just need to get the higher high, take the unclaimed higher high, and then we'll have our strong low for our change of character to prepare for a potential range. Okay, what's next? So Coma listed out all the assets you guys requested. So Ethereum's next. So we'll pull up Ethereum. We have Ethereum chart, so that should save some time. Got 65 people watching. What's up, guys? If you guys are new to watching the channel, my name is Kyle. Basically, we're just going to be doing TA requests on altcoins while we wait for Bitcoin to induce a bearish change of character here. You're welcome to ask any questions about trading or ask me to look at any asset. So Ethereum, we had a member not realize that he was jumped into a short in a very good spot. He just checked his account today and apparently he's in a short from here. Yeah, we had a really good opportunity to take some profits on something like that. But yeah, Ethereum has tested its uptrending level of momentum here on the macro. That's been holding us up since 1,400. Ethereum is really good at honoring or respecting its momentum. We had this head and shoulders posture, right? Big warning sign of sellers. And confluence of us hitting this value area, like the all-time high where, 100% of holders are at a profit. We had a bunch of tokens get out of staking. And I think it was the largest unstaking in Ethereum history that occurred during that moment. And for the timing for it to be out of like an all-time high is pretty insane. So obviously we're going to have some sell pressure. But we still, honored this demand zone, this previous value area high, the momentum, all that confluence was honored. We got a reversal so far. We're now inside of this previous area. We got this like supply zone for sure that we're fighting right now. If we get past this and we have it honored as a form of support, when we retest it with the higher high, then we can get that potential rotation to our next supply concern right here. We have a valley area low in confluence with the lower time frame supply barrier at 4,283. So if we do break past this, this is our next area of interest we got to prepare for a rejection off of. Let me adjust some of this data though. So we have overtaken data that we don't need anymore. Like this has helped us through here, but now this has overtaken that previous data, so we don't need the same data anymore. So we'll grab that, delete this, and then create a new valley area pull from here to here. Zoom in on the lower time frames since the younger valley area. Fix this. Horizontal array. And we're about to find out if we're going to get that continuation from here or not. Previous value low. Previous point of control. Okay. So we broke into the valley area. We hit our head off the previous valley area high. And now we were coming down to test this previous high here in confluence with this valley area low. So I'll prepare for support around here on Ethereum. So I'd mark this previous high right here. I'll just mark it as local support. And then we'll look for low time frame, like 5-minute time frame, bullish change of character around here. And see if we maintain acceptance into this value area. We haven't really we blasted right through it. So we're basically building a potential base of a range. With this being our form of support, it could induce us to consolidate in here again like we did the last time we were here. And like I said before, the continuation would likely occur if we got support off this valley area high. We start targeting this area next. That starts at like 4,276. Yeah, you could use fibs as well from this low to this high to see if we get a deeper retracement. This is roughly around the equilibrium point right here. So if we get the low to high, yeah, this is the equilibrium point. So if we break below that, we can watch the golden pocket 786 confluence level here for potential reversal too. But there's not very much other than just the fib level here to help you. There's no order block or anything. So I'm anticipating that the equilibrium will be honored here as support. And we could be setting up for a potential pullback now, and then SFP here from that low. And that's Ethereum. Let's go back to Bitcoin. Kyle, Christmas is the house 100%. The Contrary Trader. It's a cool name. Yeah, Kelphant's everywhere. I noticed that Kelphant is like I see him or her. I don't want to assume gender, but yeah, I see Kelphant in Alex Crypto's lives. I see Kelphant in Wave's lives too. They're everywhere. And busy. All right, next request. All right, we went through Chainlink, Ethereum, Morpho, Advantis, a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, Maxwell, I missed your request on ZEC there. I don't know if we have a ZEC chart, but I know we did TA on it. Yeah, okay. We definitely did TA on it. Zcash. This thing has destroyed a lot of people in the last bear market. From that, there was a short squeeze that occurred. Just melted so many people on over leveraged and shorts. All right, this is a daily structure from March 2019. We have this rounded bottom. Jeez, okay. All right, let's mark this valley area from here to here. Get our valley area low. Speed things up. I'm just going to pull up an indicator really quick. Oh, it's already up. Okay. All right, we got the break of structure. So we're bullish on the daily. We're approaching these local highs. There's not much between us and these previous highs here, so I think we're likely going to come up and sweep them. I would mark these preparing for a potential SFP. This is called a legacy SFP, if anyone doesn't know. When you have a lot of time distance away from wicks, these things play out extremely well for shorts. Let me just get this set up. Clone. All right, they're stacked pretty close to each other. That might be a liquick. All right, let's go lower time frames. So I see here. Sorry. All right. Coming up, we'll prepare for a sweep of this high at 78.31 and 79.33. I think we're going to grab one. We're likely going to grab the other. But yeah, I'll be looking for basically an SFP from this high. Prepare for a rejection around that area. We have a good base of support here. So if this induces a range, we could have a crazy strong consolidative range between 79 and all the way down to, right now it's around 59.60 area here. Build a base of support off that area and then maybe get a strong continuation from there. But we did just basically break a massive double bottom structure right here. Like the measurable target's kind of ridiculous. Just being a little conservative because it does suggest a move to $100, which is not the all-time high. So yeah, basically this double bottom has been targeting this previous valley area here. If we get acceptance into this valley area, then we'll have a target extension to the valley area high while being obviously mindful of any supply concerns that are created in the point of control. I'd say 151 would be a really strong area of interest. To prepare for a rejection. We can see all these like impulse moves down based of supply structure. But this one has the most areas of confluence right here. So I'd mark the valley area data here because it'll help you a lot with target extensions. But this is the first little battle you got to watch first. If we get a full body candle close above here instead on the daily, then it will invalidate a strong reversal back down for a potential continuation, like a consolidation. And what you want to see is, full body candle close here, and then break into the valley area with a brick structure, and then you can have that target extension up to here. Otherwise, I'll be praying for resistance here and resistance here. So that's Zcash. Yeah, right now, you get the bullish change of character. So during this moment, pull a fib from the low to the high. You can prepare for potential enter here, but you gotta watch out for that VWAP. And point control confluence. Okay, that's Zcash. Good TA. Thanks, man. Change character, change of structure, value high, value low, point control. Alex O is a wild sculptor. Yeah, he does really good with his fibs. Yeah, I got him and I had a trade knowledge all the time. Like I'll teach him about one thing, he'll teach me about one thing. Passing knowledge back and forth. We definitely made each other a lot better traders. Like I help him with his long game, he helps me with my short game. I mean, like longer term trades. Yeah, I help him hold his trades. And yeah, he helps me with his scalping and stuff. Kyle, remaining requests are Solana, Litecoin, Pangu, ADA, Ondo. We did Esther. Did we do Esther? Yeah, I thought we did Esther. Solana, let's do Solana. Solana's a beast. Let's see how it's doing. Let's zoom out. Yeah, this was a big spot that Brian and I were both watching here. but it never gave us the bullish change of character that we wanted for like a long. Like we had a couple of short-term scalps, but that's about it. We ended up getting acceptance into that value area and even deviated below it a little further. So let's mark that previous value high because that's going to be helpful right now. We're coming into it. We can delete this. This was helpful for a moment for this bounce, but other than that, we fully mitigated it now. These were for SFPs. You got a lot more new TA on this chart. So we got our macro broad momentum here that we're tapping into right now. We broke our internal momentum, so there's no point in drawing it, but we can draw it. We got, again, broad momentum, evolving momentum. Oops, my bad. Let me tap off that. We don't need any more. All right, getting our local resistance. Send it back. Okay, so we have our hourly change of character level here. It's pretty steep within the previous value area. And this order block looks like it was induced by a bounce off of the previous high. Large players jumped in, so there could be residual buy orders down here. So if we come down here, prepare for a potential bounce, we might break evolving momentum and result to that. And what that usually will cause us to do is go range bound or even reverse. But I'm anticipating, because of the broad momentum not being breached and having strong confluence of the previous highs and the previous point of control here, that if we do break that momentum, that will bounce off of it and start to continue to go back up. And we need to see, basically, for continuation, this value area high acts as a form of support with a break of structure. And then we're preparing for resistance around here again. You can mark this wick right here. It's a good SFP opportunity at 221. Let's go to 15 for a second. Yeah, like that. If I were to prepare for something right now, it would be a sweep of this high to induce a change of character. The SFPs are like targets of your strong low. They're like they attack your strong low. So I'll be looking for a sweep of that high, and then it'll come after the strong low at the time and see if it breaks. There is a decent amount of confluence here that it won't. Like we get the VWAP, we get the 15-minute order block. It's like the equilibrium point between the low and the high. So let's see if we get the bearish change SFP here. Solana loves providing SFPs. If you're like a one-trick pony and you only want to trade SFPs, Solana should be on your list of assets to trade, because it's incredible for SFP opportunities. Yeah, short will be roughly like this. Okay, that's Solana. Xrang. Hey. Sure, may I know how to use the fixed range volume profile? My problem is I have no idea where point A to point B is on your range. Yeah, I can give you a quick little lesson on it. you gotta know. So there's a couple rules to applying a fixed range flowing profile when you're trying to use it in a range. A beginner friendly one is looking for 2 changes of character. So if we have, let's see, one sec here. If I get my, I know on this channel I give this lesson a lot. It is included in the course too on your membership. So if you decide to join, you'll learn a lot more there, but this is kind of what you're looking for. You want price action to come. This is a bullish range scenario. So we come up, we build, we consolidate, we have an impulse move up, building demand here, right? And then what you want to look for is like a bearish change of character, right? And then at the time, you would assume that this is going to be the support of that potentially newly formed range. When you have that opposing change of character, you want to look left, find demand to assume where would we range from here, right? So during this moment, you could pull a fixed range flowing profile, but it won't be a mature one. It won't be reliable. When you have that second change of character, the bullish one, then your value area becomes more reliable. Whenever you have price action dip out of the value area low or the value area high, like this, you stop your pull. You do not continue your pull until price action gets acceptance back within it again. The reason why is because you do not want to include that volume data to help you understand proper acceptance into the value area. Because if you keep adding to your pull as price action deviates away from it, it's going to manipulate your value area low closer and closer and closer to the active price action when it's not technically a part of the value area anymore. And it could give you false acceptance, like false sense of acceptance to the value area. Acceptance comes from a break of structure within it or a change of character going within it too. And then you target that value area high again. But you keep adapting your pull until we escape it again from the upside. And then once you get that acceptance within it, you can continue your pull again. The reason why you want to like discontinue the pulls too is because it will tell you when you're about to leave that value area and move on to a new one. Kind of like what helped spark this whole run to begin with, right? When we came in here, we broke out. The moment you break out, you stop your pull. And then we pull back and test it, get the higher high. That tells you we're leaving that value area. And we're going to go back to a previous one. I hope that helps you out. But that's the rules that if you want a mechanical base rules for when to pull it, a safe set of rules is just to wait for 2 opposing changes of character that can induce a range, and then you pull it from the demand zone that has yet to be mitigated, and then you got yourself a fixed range volume profile that'll help you with your setups. Now, previous value area data is extremely helpful too. So you leave your lines on until we build a new range over top of it, and then you can just delete the previous data and use the active data. What's also kind of great is when you have these scenarios where you break into a previous value area, it's really helpful when you do your immature pull, like the pull before you have the 2 changes of character. You're going to be able to use that previous value area data a lot to help you with like knowing how the price action is going to behave. Like where we're more likely to find support, resistance, all that fun stuff. But I got it explained in great detail in the course. But yeah, I'll answer any questions you guys have during these lives, if you have them too. Okay, let's go back to the 15-minute. All right, we're set. All right, next request was Litecoin. Vegas Claw, what's up? All right, let's go to Litecoin. We have a Litecoin chart. Here we go. And then when we're done, I'll go through the assets that I think that are the, out of all the ones we look at, I'll go through the ones that have the safest setups, like ready for us. But Litecoin, this is a really strong key level right here on Litecoin, $128. This is a large majority of people's average from the previous cycle. This is where a lot of people bought from the previous bull market lows, right? Picture this as like $30,000 on Bitcoin when we consolidated between 30,000 and 60,000. This is essentially the same kind of zone, right? And we've been consistently hitting our heads off of it as resistance ever since it was created. And we've been kind of struggling to break past it. And the last time we came through here, we built a head and shoulders against it, right? And now we're kind of like potentially getting that reversal now off this previous value area low. Let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, we got 15-minute. Yeah, it's 15-minute supply concern. Here, two like stacking on top of each other. So we'll just mark the local one. Send this to back. There we go. What's this give me vibes of? Same kind of vibes as Chainlink, I believe. We just swept these previous highs. I think we just had a lick wick right here. Let's get our magnet tool out. Yeah. So a lick wick, for anyone who doesn't know, is when you pull a fib from the top of a wick to the bottom of a wick, and then we have a rejection off like the golden pocket 786 kind of level. The lower the time frames, the more deeper you can go towards like the 886. And then you look at like basically what I'd recommend doing in this, if you're trying to trade lick wicks on like a 15-minute wick, then you'd go into like a 1-minute time frame structure to define an opposing change of character within that area, so you know that it's being respected as resistance instead of just assuming that it's going to be honored as resistance. And then you use the previous wick high as your stop loss guard. I have never traded a lick wick before, so just so you know, my advice might not be as great as others when it comes to trading lick wicks. All right, I'm just marking all of our key levels. We have a demand zone down here with the 15-minute order block off these previous highs. That was once resistance that could act as support. We have liquidity from below these wicks here. So if we do continue to come down, this is an area where I prepare for potential longs for like a short-term scalp to the local highs. So the pathing, something like this. You can mark these lows for potential SFPs as well. It's about $105.30. This is where I prepare for a potential internal reversal to the range high. So we were just talking about when to pull a fixed range volume profile, and we actually have a decent example right here. So we have, remember I was drawing the demand, impulse move up, opposing change of character, right? We literally have that right here. We built that demand, impulse move up, came up, got a pullback, got the higher high, got the change of character, and coming down to our demand. We got a tiny bit of a front run to it when we had this SFP right here off of this local wick here. Came up from that SFP, you would target the local highs, which would be right here, but we got that strong continuation. We swept these highs, got that SFP here. We have barely any structure from that SFP, so you could theoretically target this low. But personally, when you have a gap that big, I'd be looking for the internal highs, like right here, as a potential target, like TP1. So we could come back up, get another SFP and come down. But overall, I would be looking for potential longs around this area, 105, then targeting the local highs here. But you can pull a fixed range from here to here. So you have that local deviation of the valley area confluence too. Okay, so that is Litecoin. I hope that helps you out. More macro, you want this thing to close above these highs to give us that potential inverse head and shoulders behavior. And I'll be watching out for the supply concern along the way up. This could be the front run to that too. If we do get that strong reversal, it feels a lot safer to be holding a trade than to be jumping a new one on range highs, right? So try to front run those big moves through the bottom of a range. When all the rules are met for a long at the bottom of a range, target the top of the range, but in hopes that we have that break of structure continuation to tell you to stay in the trade, instead of the opposing change of character telling you to get out. And then you got yourself a really good potential scalp trade convert into a swing trade. Save. I think I'm going to keep that in my list of ones to prepare for. Mario saying it, joking, saying it front run a Liquick. That's funny. All right, what we have next. We went through quite a bit of assets. Let's go through the next one was Pangu. Let's go through a meme coin now. Okay. Well, Pangu, even though it's a meme coin, our community trades it a lot because David gives Pangu signals a lot. He seems to catch the big moves on this thing. And we probably should look at his signal, see what it looks like. All right. Let's see. 15-minute. Okay, we did take that. All right, let's grab. Okay, zoom out on the 4-hour. Must have been doing a lesson down here. I'll delete that. Looks like we're talking about the equilibrium point of a rounded bottom. Okay, so Pangu, yeah, we had this massive double bottom on this thing on the day. This is the 4-hour daily, right? We broke out. We almost hit the measurable target. Very, very, very close. Now we're building like this. We had this pennant that we broke out of, but we failed when we came to the previous valley area low. We never got the proper break of structure for the continuation to the valley area high. We instead failed, came down. We actually got below our demand zone here. We have another one right here. And confluence with the 200-day EMA on the ceiling of that demand zone at 0.024651. We are building a little bit of a bear flag kind of posture with this ascending momentum, grabbing liquidity from the upside, but adding to the downside consistently. These normally do break to the downside. So we might have some relative weakness on Pangu, most likely because of the fact that it was on a massive tear for a while, so people are taking some profits. So I'm going to draw this momentum here. We could still break this to the upside, even though it looks like it's flagging in a negative way. its liquidity posture is bearish, but it doesn't mean it has to break to the downside. If we do come down below this value area low, like the target's going to be relatively boring. It'd just be the lows here. If we had a momentum-based target based on the resistance here and the last area of consolidation, the momentum-based target suggests that we'll come down to this 200-day EMA. If we broke out during this moment, when you're getting the momentum-based target of a bear flag, you look for the last area of consolidation. In this point, we consolidated, so I just pull it from the high to the low, and you take that and you drag it to the last point of contact from the resistance before the breakout. So this might not be the high that we pull this to, but either way, it's going to be relatively close. It's relatively horizontal level resistance. So that's the suggested target based on the bearish momentum. But this is where you prepare for TP1 right here on this low. If we look here, similar to kind of everything else, you would still initially prepare for longs around here. We've got a wick here where we can get a good SFP off of it. In confluence with that valley area low. Yeah, it looks like the last time we bounced here was because we kind of got off that 886 786 and order block confluence there. So yeah, I'll be looking for a bullish change of character here or a sweep. If we instead get the full body candle close below this wick and we have that bearish break of structure continuation, then I'll be starting to target down here. Okay, save. Back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's getting that like rounded structure in the lower time frames. So we might come up and grab this high and give us what we're preparing for. Okay. Pump, please. Yeah, we can do pump. Okay, Cardano was the next request. I jumped in on Cardano too. So Cardano, this was the moment right here when Bitcoin broke down here, 109K. So this is where it has happened since 109K with Cardano. We broke this downtrending momentum from 93 cents. Just like everything else, it's kind of testing this consolidative range as supply. We hit our head off a previous value area low. What we wanted to see have happen is acceptance into it so we can have that target extension to the value area high, but we have the 50-day EMA confluence there too, so we got to prepare for potential rejection there. But it is a relatively above this area of consolidation. So if we do come up there, we could come down just to test these previous highs for a continuation up. But this is the main boss we have to beat first. Okay, so we have this regression trend demand here. Always awkward. So again, this thing could come down just like what we were talking about with Litecoin and Pangu. If we come, yeah, it could come down here, prepare for a sweep of this low, target the extreme highs again. We could honor support off this previous high here right now as we speak, come up and then get an SFP off this too. Lots of SFP opportunities on Cardano right now. Looks like we got a bit of a lick wick here too. Delete that one. I'm going to pull a fixed range on 2 areas here. From here, when we acted as resistance off this valley area, right? Came down, retest, lower low. So we left that valley area at that moment. And then from here, when we left this valley area during this moment, where we get, yeah, right here to about here. I think this will help us. Let's delete this overlap data. Previous valley low. So we're getting squeezed between 2 valley areas on Cardano right now. Previous valley high. Delete that one. This won't help us anymore. All right, so if you're looking for shorts, or if you're in a short from this sweep here, then what you want to have happen is a break, an acceptance into this valley area, so you can get a target extension to the valley area low, right? But this is a form of support here, so it might not occur. But here is a good spot to prepare for longs. So if we get the opposing change of character here, target the highs in hopes that we get acceptance into this valley area, and then we can start targeting the valley area high. While being mindful, of course, of that point of control, because it looks pretty darn strong. So you want to front run that by trying to catch the lows, just like you would want to try to front run acceptance to this valley area by trying to catch the highs. A break of structure into any of these will tell you the story of a continuation and help you with the target extension. But yeah, I think Cardano is definitely one of the ones I want to watch too. Like I did just jump into a spot hold here during this moment when Bitcoin confirmed its move. Yeah, this is the spot I'm going to prepare for another, more like a futures trade setup here. Potential SFP here too. Okay, so that's Cardano. I'm going to keep that on my list too. These are both really clean setups on Litecoin and Cardano. Ethereum's not as clean, not as much structure. Can you share your soul chart? I sure can. A sec here. And if you want to get access to my charts faster, what I recommend doing is just going over here to the server. The link is in the description. Even if you're not a member, just go to the welcome chat and you type !point charts or chart. Charts with an S. And then you'll get a DM from our bot, and it will show you all of my links right here. I got the Solana charts right there too. So yeah, charts with an S. Okay. If Cardano can break that 50-day EMA, maybe SNEC will pump again. Are you a SNEC holder, man? I didn't know that. Okay, next request was Ondo. Ondo is a good one to hold. Ondo or Ondu, I'm not sure. People pronounce it differently everywhere. Okay. The thing consolidates a lot, so it's 50-day and it's 200 EMA. It's just a big pain in your butt when you're trying to do your trades. You always have to consider like an EMA cluster like this as a big barrier concern. So if you're doing any like longs, you gotta basically consider that as your part of your TP process. Just be aware of that with Cardano because it likes to consolidate so much that yeah, the EMAs have like basically just been dancing with each other ever since. Let's mark this. This was helpful before, but it's not anymore. We have this massive range here. I'm gonna move this previous pull from here. Yeah, we mitigated to that low. Yep. Okay, so from here to here. So we have a massive valley area here. We have valley areas within this valley area. So for people who are learning about valley area pulls, you technically have a valley area here. You have one like right here, for example, but you can have a macro one overlap it to help you with more swing-based data, right? Whenever you see double distribution on your valley area, which is whenever you see a B like this, which is what we got, like this B structure, this tells you a story of two ranges, not just one, where we have two valley areas that we consolidate within a lot, right? So we have upper side consolidation and lower side consolidation, and then we have fast moves between it, right? We move quickly between these areas. So this was really, really helpful for telling you if we have, let's say, consolidation again at the bottom side, which we're starting to perform, when we anticipate price action to speed up a lot. So we can mark our horizontal ray like right here. What I like to do is like just mark it as like local resistance or local support. In this case, it's local resistance. It'll tell me when we get there to look left and find out why I marked it. And I have it attached to my valley area volume shelf. So when we break through here, this will tell me that price action is very likely to move quickly to about here. Right? And so we can move quickly again, like we did throughout history, through this area. So with Ondo, what you want to see happen is a break. Well, we can do lower time frame TA on this in a moment, but basically we want to break above this range, have it act as support, acceptance into the macro valley area, and then we'll be watching this because we could hit our head off of it. If anything, that could help induce a pullback for an inverse head and shoulders. And when we break past it, we'll move very quickly to here, where we start our supply concerns and our POC and all that stuff. And in order to break past this, we're going to have to break past the 50-day EMA and the 200-day EMA. So we'll have lots of confluence for that fast-paced move too. So there'll be a lot of trade participants jumping in on a buy order if we close above these EMAs and confluence with that volume shelf. But that's more of a macro approach to Ondo right now. This is a really, really, really good spot to prepare for holds. Pretty much anywhere below $1 is a good macro hold on Ondo. Not financial advice, but we got this downtrend momentum here. It's the broad momentum. And we have our evolving momentum right here that we already broke past. Now we're kind of consolidating with this slightly ascending channel. We could pull a local fixed range here, and this will help guide us into knowing when we're likely going to leave this area. Every time we break out past this value area high, you can see that we fail to get the break of structure, right? We break through, we pull back, but we fail to get the higher high. When we come up through here, that's what we need to see happen in order for us to tell a story that we're likely going to be leaving this valley area and going to another one. So if you're looking for trend-based moves for trend trading, this is a really good structural rule with valley areas to help guide you into jumping into trades like that. A lot of people use EMA crosses. A lot of people use just pure market structure. But this is a really good, real confluence to stack onto it if you're looking for one. Of course, backtest everything I say. Okay, so yeah, locally, it is kind of looking like a lot like everything else. We'll see if we get that break, maybe sweep the high and come down, or if we continue and prepare for a long again down here. Our active value area low is at 87.38 on Ondo. We have wicks here for a potential SFP. And we got a previous value area high. So lots of confluence here for potential longs. If we come back down here. If we don't come back down here, if we break up through here, get that pullback and then higher high, then we'll be leaving that value area. And we'll be watching this macro value area low as our next barrier concern. Just marking the supply here. So we'll have to mitigate that in order to continue up. But yeah, for spot holding, I'll prepare for a long around here, 87.39. And it could be a good futures trade to the value area high. All right, cool. That's Ondo. I hope that helps you out. I'm going to save that one too because that's also a good setup. Solana, yeah. Ondo, Litecoin. Yeah, these are all look great. Transparent setups. So what I do, by the way, if you have like 4 or 5 setups and you're like really trying to figure out like which one should I take, decide based on the risk to reward ratio and decide based on what has the least amount of barriers to the target. Because in trading, you want to make it as easy as possible to compound and grow, right? We don't want to pick the hard trades. We want to make making money in this space easy. So when they meet all of your rules, most assets will kind of meet them really closely together in terms of time. Like if one confirms, they usually start to all confirm very shortly afterwards. And that's how you find out relative strength and weakness between assets too. Like which one's confirming first, which one's not confirming at all, which one's consolidating instead of like getting that bearish change of character or that bullish change of character. And it kind of tells you the story of what kind of interest is occurring within that asset during the time. If you find one has bullish change of character before the others, then it's telling you that there are more investors interested in jumping in on that one than versus others. It's what defines relative strength and weakness. Would you mind checking TokenFi from the Floki team? TokenFi. We can do that too, yeah. Let's try to catch up to everything here. So we went through went through Solana, Litecoin, Pangu, Cardano, Ondo. We got one for Esther. I think we already looked at Esther today. It's all becoming a blur. Oh, this is the new one that has, I think it's the one with the new hidden limit order system. Okay, got our demand zone here. Send it back. We have a value area here to here. This thing likes to follow my rules. Break momentum, bullish change of character, run to the opposite side of the valley area, break of momentum. We hit our head here, come down to the active valley area low. Lots of wicks down here. I've never traded this before, so I don't know how well it does with SFPs. It is a little bit wicky, so just be careful. But it does seem to follow market structure really well. So that one positive sign, like it shouldn't wick you out unless you're trading on the wrong side, it looks like. One thing you want to do before you jump in on an asset that you've never traded before is make sure that it follows your rules in a way where you'll actually be able to trade it. Clone this. All right, let's go over here. Litecoin, Pangu. I'm just doing a quick scan of all the assets that we're looking at. Okay. Making sure we're not missing out on anything. Okay. All right, well, we're close to the active valley area low. This valley area has been active for about 6 days, 4 hours. This is a young asset. It has only just been listed on MEXC on the 19th of September. If it's the asset that I think it is, it might have something to do with that hidden limit order system, and I think that it would do extremely well. But I could be completely wrong. It just looks like the name. So do your own research on that. But yeah, I'll be looking for longs around here. We can get the sweep of this liquidity below these SFP wicks. We have a demand zone that hasn't been fully mitigated yet here. So overall, I'll be looking for longs. Structurally, we don't really have a really good change of character level for longs. If you're looking for a change of character, part of your rules instead of jumping on an SFP, so you have to wait for more consolidation, because this is our area where we get that change of character. Oh, we got the bullish change of character here actually. So if we get that lower low, then we have to go way back up here. So yeah, hopefully if we take this low, we'll have consolidative structure with proper pullbacks to give us a better change of character level. And then I'll be looking for longs to the point of control, in hopes for a continuation from here to the valley area high, because it kind of failed to get that full return last time. Yeah. All right, cool. And that could be a good potential front run to $2.10, which is like a 20% move from here, I think. Yeah, 20%. It's wild. I'll save, go back here, see how Bitcoin is doing. It's kind of failing to give us that higher high so far. Still holding off that low time frame demand zone. You're in an Esther short. Oh, nice. Good job, Kelvin. Just want to say thank you. Your knowledge is greatly appreciated. No problem. Okay, what's next? All right, so we went through Solana, Litecoin, Pangu, Cardano, Ondo, Esther. We'll go through a couple more guys, and I gotta head out. This Friday, by the way, there will be a big giveaway. I'll be giving away a $6,000 account for trading, given to us from Klein Funding. Let's look at TokenFi for I Lost Hope. It's a good name. So let's see. TokenFi. What's the ticker on that thing? Is it just token? While I wait for the answer on token fi, oh, that might be it right here. I see it on Blowfin. Zoom out on the daily. No dinosaur here, so it might not be the full price action. We do have this downtrending momentum. It's been holding it down since 0.286. From that high to our current low, it's a 54% retracement. We had this liquidity be taken from this low, it looks. Yep. Got a bit of a pullback from it. We broke the lower time frame internal momentum. Oh, no, we're just tapping it now. After mitigating the supply concern here, we got a little guy up here too. As our next area of interest. We have one here in confluence with the 50-day EMA. And we're currently testing these previous highs. It's potentially a support, but we have an unclaimed lower low that we could sweep in confluence with tapping into that hourly order block right here. I'm just going to pull a fib. I want to pull a low to the high fib and an impulse fib. So low to the high fib, we've got confluence here from a golden pocket. The ceiling of the golden pocket was tapped and what's created this wick. But we could still come down into it with the hourly order block overlap. So our green box zone right here is perfect. It's refined between the golden pocket floor and the golden pocket ceiling. We got an order block. So I think that here I'll be preparing for potential longs. Either you get the SFP structure or you get the lower time frame, like 15-minute bullish change of character instead. And you target this high here initially first. We got a bearish 30-minute order block. Okay, save, back to Bitcoin. No problem. It's not the full chart, no idea why. The reason why is because the full chart you'll find normally in a decentralized environment where the asset was born, right? The very first candle was born where the first liquidity was provided. And on the exchange that we were looking at, it will tell you the price from the moment that it was listed on that exchange. So it won't show you the full price action. It's important to know like the how much time it has been active versus its listing on that exchange, because if you miss too much candle data, it could blind you from really important key levels for your trades. Okay. Okay, so we look at quantum reality wants to look at Teo. See, we have a Teo chart? We do. We haven't looked at Teo since August 14th. Okay. You know, August, when we had this, oh yeah, we were looking at this head and shoulders, came down, hit that target. We can delete a lot of this noise now. This was helpful at the time, but it's not now. Building this. See, descending channel. If we zoom out on the bigger picture, the tail was trying to get acceptance into this valley area right here. It failed. It never got the higher high. Each time it came, oh, it did right here. Then we hit our head off the previous valley area high and then came down with the head and shoulders. We've been in a downtrend ever since. So we've been in a downtrend for about 68 days. We had some internal rallies, of course, but overall creating lower highs. We got this descending double bottom where we swept this low right here. So we got that bullish 6-hour SFP here telling us that we'll be targeting these highs. We got to the highs. Now we're pulling back off of them, trying to honor them as support. So we need to get that higher high to give us that rotation up to the top of this potential supply concern right here at 316. Zoom in. We could pull 2 low time frame fixed range flowing profiles here, from here to here, and from here. We're still trying to confirm our way out. So right about here. So if we come down, test this VWAP in confluence of this previous valley area high, or the active valley area high, and then get the higher high, then we will confirm an exit of this valley area. We'd have mitigated this supply concern and confluence with that. We just have to watch our head off that previous point of control. But we'll be targeting a full rotation to the valley area high up here. Let's go in the 15-minute. Yeah, structurally though, there's not very much. We got a previous high that we're tapping, but we got a big fair value gap here that could pull us. If we get it closed within it, we could pull us right down to about here. 300. So you're kind of looking for a bounce here, low time frame change of character, and targeting the high, in hopes that we get a close above here and not an SFP. But macro, its positioning is very, very, very bullish. But short term, this is kind of what you're looking for that continuation. But about all the assets that we looked at, this is the one that I probably wouldn't take. The other assets have more clear structure. Thank you for your time. No problem. Okay, guys. Went through quite a bit of assets. And I know it's only been 2 hours, but we probably went through about, feels like 15 to 20 assets. You can reach out to me in the Discord if you need help with anything, of course. We got a lot of cool changes coming up in the Discord this week, so stay tuned to that. Basically, more signals, and more tools for you guys coming out. So I'm super excited. Theta. Okay. Oh, yeah. We had a lot of people ask for Theta, so I'll do Theta, and then I gotta go. I know I sound like a broken record when I say I'm leaving, and I never really do. Let's see. So Theta. I think we have a theta chart actually. I used to trade this thing a lot in the past. Okay, I did. All right, we'll pull up this theta chart. Yeah, so last time we were looking at theta, we lost momentum here. We expect it to fall down to our local support, which is this volume shelf right here. If we lost this, we'd most likely move quickly to the next volume shelf, which is basically what occurred. Came up, had acted resistance, and quickly moved down to the POC. Building this flag posture right here. So we had that bear flag that brought us right down here. Now we can actually adapt and change the active fixed range volume profile pole from here to here. We could delete this. We never got that reversal here. This was once local support. We got to flip it to local resistance. It's still a very strong volume shelf. We're going to refine it a little bit to here. Just looking left to see if there's any reasoning to come down lower. This is the 4-hour structure. Keep sweeping or SFPing these lows. Right, so we SFP'd this low here recently. Let's go to lower time frames. Okay. So yeah, we definitely want a break above that key level, but we want to try to front run that key level break. So we do have high time frame levels that could be swept. We don't have a proper pullback yet here to define this as an SFP. Because you want to have at least a 2-candle pullback. The same way where you define a pullback for a proper break of structure or for a change of character, you need it for an SFP as well. Because what an SFP technically is an invalidation of a change of character or an invalidation of a break of structure. So we don't have that proper pullback on the 4-hour. And the hourly structure is very blocky because we have low liquidity on Binance for this token. So we have awkward price action. But yeah, down here, looking for a bullish change of character, liquidity sweep of this low to try to front run the break of this level. If we get above here, we should have a fast-paced move up again. Well, I guess the fast-paced move will come from the break of this level to here, honestly, because that's where our volume gap is on the, yeah. So our volume gap is from here to here. So we would have that break prior. So yeah, so we need to front run this move to around here. If we get above this, then awesome. Then we'll have acceptance into the upper side of this value area. And we can see a potential rotation back up to this supply concern up here. We adjust this. This is old. It's mitigated. There we go. But yeah, I used to trade theta all the time because it had crazy relative strength in the last cycle. So you could trade it. Everything, it would do its own thing while everything else was being like crashing or pumping like crazy. This thing would usually be range bound all the time. Do you think Bitcoin will double topping and breaking the neckline? No, this is not a proper double top. See if we look at on the 5 minute, let's see. On the 5-minute ES, we've got a descending double top. This is the neckline here. And we just got the internal change of character. And if this does induce the drop, this is where we'd be targeting. This is like the local demand zone. For me, I prefer to trade the ascending double tops. But yeah, a lot of this is internal, so I'd just be careful. I personally am waiting for the long, so I can trade alongside the trend, but preparing for the drop. And the measurable-based move from the neckline to the resistance. Click, drag, brings you right to the demand. We're going to box this zone. Be like this here. But yeah, the risk reward ratio, shorting it is garbage. Like you can't really short it. If you had your stop loss guard on like the internal strong high during the break, it'd be like right here. Your target, it's like a 1-to-1. That's not, yeah. I don't do coin toss risk management. But these are helpful for like exit plans, right? If you're already in an existing long, let's say you jumped in a long down here. Like this is like your last straw telling you to get out. So listen to those warning signs if you're in an active trade. But if you're in something like down here from when we signaled the buy, you have a lot of guards protecting your capital now, right? We got these previous highs protecting capital. We have our active demand zone that we're kind of like targeting right now, protecting your capital. We have the 50-day EMA, the previous value area high. So I'll be looking for that bullish change of character here. And we target these highs again. Everything's kind of coming down to our levels. And we have, if you look at Bitcoin's drop and the confluence of its support level and the positioning of the other assets and how they have similar confluences, you want to be trading the assets that have like the same kind of pairing liquidity as Bitcoin and the same kind of confluences, so you can use Bitcoin as a conduit to assist your trade. It always sucks trying to like trade against Bitcoin and what it's doing. So if you find something that looks bullish right now and Bitcoin's confirming a drop, I'll be really hesitant on jumping on that bullish move. Because Bitcoin could induce it to a reverse or invalidate your setup. Can we look through render again? Okay. I'll look at RNDR. We have a chart for it. Okay, so last time we were looking at render was this valley area here. Looking for an SFP or the break of structure to bring us to the supply concern. We hit our head off the supply concern. We might have gotten lower time frame structured there, but we didn't actually have the proper pullback. After we hit our head, we kind of like went in this downtrending momentum. We have a more macro play here. What's going on there? Zoom out. It's a big giant valley area, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, remember remember us talking about this. So yeah, so render is in the bottom of this massive valley area that we've been consolidating in for 236 days. We're looking for a potential sweep of this low. Looks like it got front run a little bit, or a bullish change of character. This red line here is a really strong key level, historically been used as support and resistance. So I got it marked on the chart just to be hyper aware of it. And right now we're using it as support. We got a descending double bottom. So we have a good strong key level here and an already mitigated supply concern right here. So if we get a full body candle close above that, we should have a very strong rotation up, with this little supply concern being our first primary barrier. And then after that, you'd be looking for a resistance on the downtrending momentum. If you see massive sell orders in the order books, then you'll know that trend line is going to be honored. But yeah, right now, based on the structure, we should stay above this strong low. So between the strong low and the unclaimed high. And we'll prepare for a bullish move to the upside here. So internally, are we looking for a sweep of this low or a bullish change of character off that wick? Now we can move this here. But this, yeah, this is what I'll be looking for here. At 335.5. The start of the low here. You would be targeting the high, being mindful of this supply. And hopes for a close above here for a stronger trend bound rule. Stronger trend bound move. The measurable target of 371. That's render, man. But yeah, really good spot to prepare for accumulation for longer term holds. Do you think Advantis is failing down to its next range? I think it's in the valley area high. So Advantis. I thought we had something bigger. Yeah, we had Binance. All right, here we are. Yeah, so with Advantis, we are looking at the hourly order block. We have dipped below the valley area. Yes, we haven't confirmed it yet as proper acceptance though. So if we zoom in on the 15-minute, what we're lacking for proper acceptance is us to come up. We got the proper pullback so far, about 5 minutes. But what we're lacking is the lower low. We need to have a break of structure within the valley area for acceptance within the valley area. Otherwise, we could just be dipping in for a V-shaped recovery. I think we'll come up, hit our head off this 15-minute order block in confluence to that previous valley high, then pull back, and we'll see if we get a potential. You can do a fib pull from the low to that newly created high and see where we could fall down to for potential fib confluence. If you get that 3-minute change of character within that zone, and then you target that local high and see if we go beyond it for a change of character. But yeah, we're still lacking structure. Okay, guys, I gotta head out. I'll give the signal inside the community if we find something safe. Still sitting on our hands, but yeah, it looks like we're inducing a range here, which we kind of assumed might occur between the supply concern and the 50-day EMA and this valley area high. But yeah, we're just waiting on the bullish structure down these lows so we can prepare for a potential front run of a continuation, or just to target the local highs within the range and just scalp the long. Thanks a lot for everyone who's been sharing, following, subscribing. Like, we're starting to grow a lot faster. We're at or close to our goal of 7,000 subscribers. This Friday is going to be our first of many giveaways. So on Friday, anyone who comments a specific word that we'll give out on that day will get entered into a ballot for a potential $6,000 account. It's pretty cool. And we'll be able to do that every Friday. Thanks, man. Community link. Community link is in the description. Let me add that really quick. I usually have my mod give it to you guys, but he's out right now. Okay, here we go. All right, communicating, typing in right now. HTTPS. There we go. All right, cool. All right, guys, have an amazing day. Thanks for watching.